It's it's so hot. What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. We might be entering a mild video drought. It is so hot. It got so hot I couldn't sleep. And when I could sleep, it was like sleep was making me more tired. So I got a little personal AC unit, and that kind of helped. And then it broke, and now we're dying again. It's so hot, it's like my brain doesn't work. It's like I need to sleep because I'm exhausted from sleeping. And you know it's bad because I'm tuned for Florida heat. And Florida heat is no joke. This is some other shit. This is like an actual oven. We're getting cooked. In Florida or Flolga, your body responds to overwhelming heat with a barrage of vileness that protects you. You have to shower a lot, but your vileness protects you. Out here, you just die. And then on top of that, my nonprofit has officially decided we're done. We have about a year to fall with style, but it's done. And we're making the best of an awful situation, but that's a lot to bear because you're you're doing you're building your own casket and burying yourself and conducting your own funerary rites, and you're getting paid less than a Buc-ee's employee. You're getting paid less than a Californian gas person, or just a little bit more. I'm experiencing double heat death. I'm tired. I'm sad. It is sad seeing this happen. Stressed. I feel out of it, like I'm living on a separate plane. Getting into astrology, too. Astrology is no joke. I knew it wasn't, but events led me to need it. And now that I need it, parts of it are starting to click. I'm getting it now. But astrology as a whole, or at least the astrological community, looks like another iteration of the typology community. It's a bunch of unpleasant looking women. It's a bunch of canned black and white guys. More black guys than white guys. In the typology community, it's more white guys than black guys. But they all have fluoride eyes. It's like someone advertised a soul to them and they bought it. And now they have a name brand soul. Aggressively typical. Normality with intention. And now that I know what to look for, I've found a few maybe skimmerlits in the astrology community I might watch at length. We'll see. But this shit is cool. I like astrology. I've always liked astrology. Yeah, no. Before I had my alcoholized awakening, I thought astrology was shit. After my awakening, my opinion changed on it, but for the longest time I never understood it. Now that the time has come for us to understand parts of it, you've been permitted to comprehend parts of the bigger picture. Very cool. Very fun. But today, we're 5 minutes into the video. Let's talk about the video's topic. Current title, Reality Wars. I feel like there's a better title, a better way to put this. snappier, but it's not coming to me. All I can think about is the fact I would really like my AC to be working. There are a million reasons I find debating to be pointless, but one of those reasons is the debate itself never matters. And there are 100 ways the debate itself doesn't matter. But the key thing is a debate doesn't matter if one person has consensus assumptions on his side. Nobody will ever convince anyone current thing is bad. That's why people run or ride trends. And some people, if they're shit at it, you'll see that they're riding trends and you'll mock them for it. But the skilled ones will ride trends, and you won't notice that they're riding trends because they're so good at it. And you will suck their dicks, you will give them your money, you will tell your friends about them. And in elections, I think most of the time a perceptive person knows who is going to win. And if you can't tell, then something has gone a little fucky. But I mean, this is underneath polls, this is underneath popular discussion, this is something you can feel, because I think the collective unconscious adjusts its assumptions and people can feel them. It's crazy the degree to which people will do and say whatever they think they're supposed to do and say, while knowing deep down inside they're operating with or against consensus. I'm dealing with an election problem right now. I'm not dealing with it. I'm done with this shitty fucking place. But I've had extreme issues with local government. They're highly corrupt. Highly corrupt. It's shocking how corrupt they are. But I think this is like this everywhere. And everyone talks about, you should be involved in local government because that's where you can make a difference. No, you're not going to make any difference. Local government is as dynastic as big government is. And maybe even more crooked, actually, depending on how your sense of justice operates. The problem we're seeing now is the only person running against our current city mayor is nobody is, even though he does have a lot of popular support, nobody is willing to put up signs for him or to, well, aside from one person who is the based criminal dude I buy guns from, or formerly criminal dude I buy guns from, who is the only person I'll buy guns from, by the way, because he hates the government more than I do, and that's an achievement. Anyway, the reason nobody will advertise for this challenger is the local police force is so corrupt, people are terrified of speaking out, because if they speak out, they're going to get arrested, or they're going to get fined into the ground. And this is another thing. You live, your life exists in legal violations every second of every day, up to, and maybe even, if I don't know if there is a beyond, but if not, then at least the highest level, felony violations. If someone with the law as their tool wants to fuck you, you will be fucked. And that's something I've had to deal with. That's something a lot of people in this area have had to deal with. And you'd think it's... And this is why I hate people so much. It would be understandable if... And I hate that I say this, because I didn't want to live in a world like this, but if it at least made sense, as in, I don't fuck with you, or the power establishment. I don't fuck with you. I help you on occasion, and you don't fuck with me. Be corrupt. I would rather you weren't, but at least there is a set of rules that can be followed. But that's not what people do. People like hurting other people for its own sake. And I've had to deal with that. And it's constant and it's petty and it's cruel, and that's why I carry guns. You never know when you'll need to defend yourself abruptly, suddenly, without warning against a corrupt system. I really hope government officials or their dumb looking children never put me in a self defense situation, because I will defend myself. Which is a joke, of course. I'm a pussy, there is no line you can't cross. I will let you fuck me for eternity. I'm a lot like Benjamin Franklin in that way. Or Big Tommy J. Or Mel Gibson in Patriot. My point is, nobody, including me, will advertise for this dude. And that means there are an overwhelming number of pro-incumbent signs and stickers. And in the ether, you can feel the challenger has a lot of support, but the incumbent has won. I don't know why you can feel that, but you can. Or let's go all the way back, and it's crazy that this isn't all the way, you can say all the way now. 10 years, Jesus. Also, today is August 12, 2036. Or no, 2026. If you are keeping up with the countdown. Everyone was acting like there was no way Trump was going to win. Polls said he wouldn't win, people said he wouldn't win, common sense said he wouldn't win. Yet, underneath everything, you knew he was going to win. And my point in saying all this is, you should never waste your time fighting about current thing or debating anyone or fighting anyone on the issue that's in front of you, because if they have the assumptions on their side, the self-evidence on their side, and you'll know when that's the case, because I don't know why it's like this, but everybody knows who has self-evidence on their side, that you'll never win. If your strategy relies on convincing people, but the thing is, if your strategy doesn't rely on convincing people, if your strategy relies on threatening people, then the self-evidence still goes back to your side, because you know you're going to win. And everybody knows you're going to win if you know it. So I don't think you should ever spend much time informing yourself about the issues, or reading up on other people's positions, or considering what the best course of action to take will be, or should be. You need to get good at brainwashing yourself. And it's funny because you do that. You can do everything I just mentioned you shouldn't do if it helps you brainwash yourself. On some level, know why you're doing it. I'm trying to get back into World of Darkness stuff, and I have this weird fascination with Changeling. Of the games, that's one I'm probably never going to play. But I love Red Caps. And I also love the whole bunk thing, by which you do some stupid theatrical dramatic shit that doesn't or shouldn't have any effect on anything, but because it's so theatrical or so narratively stereotypical, it does have an effect. Like maybe you give yourself a montage of reading up on the issues, and not one thing you're reading actually matters that much to you, or it doesn't make any sense to you. But by the end, now you have effectively brainwashed yourself into complete certainty of whatever you started reading for, which is what I think a lot of people do. You're listening to this video, you're thinking this is stupid, but this is what people do. I'm just telling you what Joe Dipshit MA does. Logistical reality, factual truth, these are never the concerns. The concern is always perception. Do you perceive yourself to be in the right? Do other people perceive you to be in the right? And this can be tricky because I don't know about you. I have this retarded need to try to be fair with people. And if they have a good point, or if my argument or my position is not overwhelming incorrectness, provably, and sometimes even if it is, I will give people the time of day when I shouldn't, or I will concede something if they end up being right about it. Bad idea, you shouldn't do that. And what that does is, even if you know yourself to be correct, it doesn't matter, because now the perception is you are not insurmountably and self-evidently correct. Your rightness is not easy and obvious. And that's the thing. Whoever makes it seem like, whoever believes their side or their position on something is easy and obvious and doesn't require a lot of details, they're going to have an easier time winning, because Joe Dipshit and Jane Dipshit, they don't want to think about anything. All Joe and Jane Dipshit want to do is throw in with the side that looks like it's winning, that looks like it's moral, that looks like it's obvious, because all they want to do is win and feel superior. That is all the average fucking retard cares about. My point in all this is, don't spend your time arguing with people as if you're going to get somewhere. If you're going to argue, it needs to feel like a formality because the outcome has already been decided. And that's why you don't argue with people one-on-one. What are you doing? If you want to cultivate the power of self-evidence in these reality wars, you need to do whatever you need to do in order to make yourself feel self-evident. And for me, part of that comes from focusing on results. Because if you can get results, then it doesn't matter much what people think, because you'll be okay, even though eventually they're going to come and try to take your shit. But the thing is, getting results isn't sufficient to convince anybody. And it's crazy, because you would think results equal self-evidence, but they don't. So what I do, the next thing I do after I've found something that consistently produces results, nice well produces $500 a week, drainage maxing, drinking your milkshake, what I do is I start effectively arming insurgents. I'm usually not going to be the one who stands up and tries to argue for the position that is not collectively self-evident yet. But what I'll do is I will find people who are on a similar wavelength, who are trying to do that and failing, and then give them my support. And one person giving another person their support isn't going to change a lot. But if you do that enough times, and I don't know why this is, because it shouldn't change anything. But if you do it enough, something starts to change, and your position that you've been arming your freedom fighters with, it starts to become self-evident to you. and then you can stand on your own. For example, or you can start putting together a united front. For example, on a small, stupid level, I loved Halo Infinite. A lot, actually. That's probably, in terms of campaign, that's my favorite Halo campaign since 3. I probably ended up playing Reach most, but I didn't like Reach very much. It's okay. With mods, it's an 8.5. Infinite was a 9.8. And the things that keep it from being a 10 are things I like. I've been quietly trying to change the narrative around Halo Infinite on the internet because people are retarded. They hate. The new thing is something everyone is always going to hate. And that annoys the shit out of me. Like Zero Parades. I've been playing Zero Parades recently. I like it better than Disco Elysium in a lot of spots. Which, it's a crazy thing to say, but it's the case. I will never argue Zero Parades is an overall superior game to Disco Elysium. But you like... Be Still My Heart, you like Zero Parades more, maybe. I just went on a 2-minute rant, and my recording software corrupted it. Damn it. I was saying something about crowd psychosis, right. People will say shit just because other people are saying shit. Like, honestly was one, genuinely was one, humiliation ritual was a big one. Saying things or doing things just because other people are doing them. But whereas, like, planking, that was a fun trend because it was a meme, it was silly. It's different when the popular mimetic viral thing is an ideology or a way of thinking. For example, we're talking about Halo. People love to rant about how much they hate sprinting in Halo games. But which Halo game's dick does everybody suck nonstop, and I don't get it because that's my least favorite? It's Reach. Reach introduced sprinting. And I never hear anyone complain about sprinting in Reach because that's the game whose dick everyone sucks. But it's the popular thing every single person complains about in other Halo games when it's a good mechanic. I don't know what you're bitching about. You're bitching because it is popular to bitch. It's fashionable to hate the current thing, and this is the fashionable way to be fashionable by hating the current thing. Bitching about sprinting. Halo 4 has my favorite multiplayer in the series. Halo 5's multiplayer was really good. I like Halo 3's multiplayer for like a country fried steak with mashed potatoes. Simple, elegant, delicious. If I want to spice that shit up, Halo 4, because Halo 4 is like Halo 3 but amped, especially when you're playing the fun game modes. Halo 5 is a different thing, but it was good in its own way. I like change, actually. I like having the option to continue playing the original stuff, but I like change. To an extent. I didn't get into Infinite's multiplayer because I'm not a multiplayer guy very much anymore. My reflexes are shit these days. But I loved Infinite's campaign. I loved it a lot. But you can feel it. As time goes on, opinions begin to change. People are beginning to admit Halo 4 and 5 were pretty fun. I hated Halo 4's campaign, and I didn't like most of Halo 5's campaign, but Halo 5's campaign had its moments because the maps were beautiful, and I really liked those slow, soak-it-all-in segments. They're not awful. And eventually, and you can feel this happening, and this isn't just a Halo thing, you can feel this with everything. you can feel when eventually this or that unfashionable position will become fashionable. And if you're someone who needs to do something now, if you don't want to lay claim to a position that will be fashionable later, you need to, or I guess it doesn't really matter. You got to do both. If you want to accomplish something fast, you need to know the game you're playing. The game you're playing is the self-evidence game, and you need to know when and how to achieve self-evidence in Joe Dipshit's mind. And you don't do that by arguing or by being informed. It's all perception. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.